Today I'm giving you a complete update on my air conditioner issues, my inverter that broke, and my broken step. So let's get started. Hi everybody, it's Deb with Deb's RV Services and welcome to today's video. This would be an episode of Deb's Corner. If you have not been around long enough to know what Deb's Corner is, it's when I give you updates on my life as a full-time RVer, and I feel like I have a lot to tell you and a lot of updates to share with you because I took you through like when my air conditioner broke but never gave you any update on what happened after that. And my step, I made a video about that where my Lazy Daze step broke off because my son stepped on it, and I did a makeshift temporary fix to it, and it's been a whole year and I haven't given you an update on that. And then I had an inverter that broke and I had to have that replaced. So I'm like, why not make a Deb's Corner video so that I can just give you the updates, tell you everything. And then I also want to tell you about an amazing RV park that I stayed at with the rushing river in the background. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about the air conditioner first. So a little while back, I created a video for you where I told you about my air conditioner that broke in my Lazy Daze, and I had to have my friend Scott with Every Inch RV come out and help save the day. When he came out, he replaced the air conditioner and it worked fine, and then he left and my breaker popped. And I left the video at the end. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it down below. But I left you at the end of that wondering, well, what happened next? So when I went to the next park, it ran okay. The breaker didn't pop again. So I thought, well, maybe it was just the RV park that I was at. But then it started to, the next hot day that came up, I was at a different park and it started to pop again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So at that point, I realized that I probably have a bad breaker, and I went ahead and ordered the breaker and changed it out myself. I didn't video it. I really should have, so that I could show you how I did it, because it wasn't that difficult. I actually YouTubed it myself. I went on YouTube, I found somebody that changed out a breaker, and it wasn't that difficult. You just have to make sure that you have everything shut off, all the 12 volt and your 120, nothing hooked up, no shore power, and then you can just get into that control panel area and you can change out the breaker. Once I changed out the breaker, air conditioner problem solved. I have been able to run the air conditioner. It gives me zero issues now. So sometimes one problem can lead to another problem, and I had two problems going on at the same time when my air conditioner broke. I had to replace the air conditioner, but then when a breaker pops too many times or it's old, it can sometimes start to fail. So you might want to look at that. Number two, we're going to talk about my Lazy Daze fiberglass step. So last year, I had a problem where my son stepped out onto the step of the RV at the passenger side, and my whole step just cracked and fell to the ground. And I was a little bit in shock. I didn't know what to do. It's fiberglass and it's held up by, it's all like a one-piece fiberglass, and then underneath there's a little bit of wood, but that wood had rotted because it gets exposed to water. So I came up with a temporary solution, and I will have that video down below. If you haven't watched it, you can go see what I did. And it did last up until just recently. It lasted about a year, and then it fell again. So I want to tell you about this RV park that I came to, because I want to plug it in because it was an amazing RV park and I highly recommend it if you're in the Colorado area. So it's right outside of Loveland and it's called Riverview RV Park. I really love staying at this park because when I came here, there is a rushing river that you can have. You can get a site with that, or you can get a site in the woods, but it had a rushing river in the background and it was so peaceful. I could set up my camp chair, I could read my book, have my coffee, and it was just so peaceful. So I absolutely love this RV park. In last week's video, I actually had that river in the background. And so if you didn't watch last week's video, you might want to go check that out. But it's really a nice RV park, and it's friendly, it's quiet, lots of trees, and I really highly recommend it. If you're in the Loveland area, you might want to check them out. But anyway, when I got to the park, my step failed again. And I realized that I was in serious trouble and needed to get this step fixed, because I went under there and I attempted to fix it, but it wouldn't hold anymore. Nothing would hold, no screw would hold under there. So I ended up taking a bungee cord and bungeeing it. I found an area that I could bungee it to hold it up and wrap it around another piece on my RV just to get it to some type of mechanic, somebody that could do it. I just want you to know that in the last year, I have attempted to get people to help me with this fiberglass step, and I have been denied. So I contacted several technicians. I asked if anyone could help me with this step, and nobody wanted to touch it because it's fiberglass. They didn't know what to do. And so then by the time I got, and I'm traveling a lot, so it's hard for me to find a place. I found this place that handles welding and truck and trailer repairs. So the name of that business is called Felkner's. I'm going to put that in the link below because I highly recommend them if you are in Colorado, and this is also in the Loveland area. They were a small shop, but they did absolutely amazing work. When I first told them that it was fiberglass, they were like, we don't really handle fiberglass. But I said, listen, I'm not expecting you to completely repair my fiberglass. If you could somehow create some kind of bracket that could go underneath the step and attach to my frame, that's all I want. I just want something to hold it up. So the owner went under there, they took a look at it, he and another technician, and they said, I think we can come up with a solution for you. So they needed an entire day to do the job, and I went ahead and dropped it off. I scheduled the time, dropped it off, was just praying that my RV made it there without the step falling on the ground and just dragging on the floor or the cement. And it made it, and they spent the entire day working on it, and they came up with these absolutely sturdy, welded, big pieces of metal underneath the RV that just keeps it completely stabilized. And I went ahead and had them take care of the driver's side as well, because that was going to be next. So why not just handle that before the tragedy happens? So they took care of both sides of the RV. I am super happy with them. I'll link their information below. I think today's video is a lot about plugging all these people, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm literally just giving you this information in case you're in the area. I'm very happy with these people. So that is now that is a completed solution. That I don't have to worry about the stairs anymore. But I had one more problem. My inverter. Izzy is asking if she can come here. Come here, Izzy. You want to say hi to everyone? Come here. Come say hi. I know you think you got to go outside. Okay, I'll be right back. One thing that has not given me a problem is my Waggle pet monitor. So if you travel with pets like I do, I want to mention something that's been a total lifesaver for me, and that's the Waggle Minicam and Temperature Monitor. With the Minicam, I can see my dog Izzy anytime I'm away from the RV, and I can even talk to her through the two-way audio, which definitely makes us both feel better. The temperature monitor gives me real-time alerts if the RV gets too hot or too cold inside. And we all know how fast temperatures can change, especially if there's an AC or power issue. The best part, it runs on cellular, not Wi-Fi, so it works even when I'm boondocking or if the campground Wi-Fi is spotty. It's super easy to set up, and honestly, it gives me so much peace of mind when I leave Izzy behind for errands or when I have to work. So Waggle has reached out to me, and they are offering a wonderful discount. So off of the pet monitor, you can get 75% off, or you can get a bundle with the Minicam and the pet monitor for 15% off. I'm going to link both below for you. To get the 75% savings for the pet monitor, you're going to use the code IZZY. If you want the pet camera bundle, you're going to get 15% off, and you're going to use the code DEB. If you're interested in getting either of those, make sure you click on the link. It truly has been very helpful, especially in these hot summer months. Sorry about that interruption. Izzy feels all better now, don't you? You want to say hi to everyone? Say hi. Hi, everyone. I don't look like I have a happy face, but I'm really happy right now. Mommy took me potty. Okay, let's talk about the inverter. So the inverter stopped working, and I needed to figure out what to do. There was an error code, and when I looked at the error code, it said that it was an internal error. So that meant that it needed to be replaced. So I had a decision to make. Was I going to stay with the same type of small 2000 watt inverter, or was I going to upgrade to maybe a Victron? Well, I decided after talking to some of my friends in the field that the Victron, whole house inverter would be awesome, because if I upgrade more, like get more batteries or decide to do the whole house with it, I already have the inverter. Now the Victron MultiPlus 2 is more expensive. I think it was around $1,000 for me to get it. It was a little under that, but you can get a sale sometimes, a coupon. I got mine off of Amazon. So anyway, I went ahead and purchased the inverter, but I didn't know how to install it. I don't install inverters, and electrical is something that I really, really highly recommend that you have a qualified technician handle for you. Somebody that installs inverters all day long, that is their specialty. Something that I learned from during my experience, because what happened is I didn't have any of my friends that install inverters with me in Colorado, so I didn't know anyone. I had a friend that's a tech that really handles like other RV related jobs and doesn't install inverters, but I thought, well, how hard can it be? We can just walk through it, and we can always call on someone else to help if the need arises. And so I scheduled an appointment. I ordered what I thought I needed, all the supplies, because there's a couple other things you have to get, this connection cable so that you can program it on your computer, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't able to record this installation because the tech asked that I didn't record, and that's okay. I get it. I think because it's not something that he does all the time, it was a learning process for him as well. So he came out, and he had somebody that he could call to ask questions to, and he went ahead and he connected the inverter. Well, right after we tested the inverter, and right after he left, it stopped working. So the inverter appeared to work, but what we didn't do is take it off of shore power. So what happened was there's AC lines going in and out, and the line coming in from shore power worked correctly. So it appeared that everything connected. My air conditioner would run. I showed that I had 120 volts on my interior meter. What we didn't do, which was completely ridiculous, and I can't believe we did this, was we didn't test it off of shore power to make sure the actual inverter worked. So when I turned it off shore power and turned it on inverter, nothing worked. I was like, oh. So I had already programmed it, and I thought, okay, maybe it's something in the settings. So I got with another technician friend. We walked through the settings together, got the settings programmed, and it still didn't work. So the tech had to come back out, and it was I was far further away. Now I'd already moved to the Loveland area, which was further away from Denver. And he came out, and then he said, oh, well, I found out that there are two AC ports. You can have AC1 or AC2, and when you're dealing with an RV, you have to use AC1. So he had to move the connections that would have allowed the inverter to work, which would have been the AC out port, and he had to move that over. So the problem with this situation was the fit was super tight. You couldn't really see behind it because the inverter is so big, and it just fit in the space I had for it. So it was right up against a wall, and you can't see back there. You can barely get your phone back there to take a picture. So I totally understand how this happened. He went ahead and he put it in the other AC and connection, and it appeared to work. Like, I tested an outlet and the outlet came on. I don't even understand how it worked, because when you find out what happened, it shouldn't have worked to test it, but it did work. And so then he left. And as soon as he left, I went to use my outlet, and none of the outlets worked. And I said, that's weird. None of my outlets are working. So then we thought it was a breaker. I'm like, this doesn't make sense, and then I grabbed my multimeter and I started testing the breaker. And when I had shore power on, I showed that I had 120 volts. When I had shore power off, I had 0 volts. So that meant no AC power was getting inverted and coming through. But the problem is that because everything was hooked through the inverter now, my outlets didn't work even while I was on shore power, and this was a real issue for me. I work on my computer, I use my TV, I need all my outlets to work. I have coffee to make, people. So anyway, I am so happy, and this is not sponsored. I don't get sponsored by these guys, but I am so happy that I had extra battery banks. So I advise anyone out there to always have something on the backup, whether you have a Bluetti or a Jackery. I happen to have a 1,000-watt Jackery. I happen to have a 1,500-watt Bluetti. I like to have these for extra power because I only have 30 amp. If I'm running the air conditioner, I can't run my bean grinder. I can't run things, so because I'm already maxed out. So I use my Bluetti and my Jackery for extra resources. And I also have a tiny 250 watt Jackery, and I can use that for my TV. So what I did until the tech could come out again, I swear to God, something is like crawling on me or something, or it's my hair. It's driving me nuts. So what I did was I had my TV connected to my small Jackery. I used my bigger Bluetti to connect my computer so I could work. And then I had my other Jackery that I could use for my coffee stuff. I am really happy I had those because, you guys, I would have been SOL for the whole time period, even hooked on shore power, and I couldn't fix it. I didn't know what to do. I tried so many things. I used ChatGPT, and what ChatGPT said was and ChatGPT, by the way, is an amazing resource. If you guys aren't using it, you should get on board. It can troubleshoot for you. Yep. So I used ChatGPT, and it said that these connections have to be seated incorrectly. And so I called my tech again, and he came out for the third time. What he realized is that because he couldn't see back there, that one of, I don't know if it was the ground or neutral, I don't remember which one it was in the wrong hole. So we had to remove them. Now here is another thing that, in case you don't know this about these Victrons, is when you put your connection in there, it's sealed. You can't pull them out unless you depress this tab. We didn't know about this tab, so the tech was yanking and yanking on this, and come to find out, it could have damaged the whole internal Victron machine. Do not let people yank on your wires, okay? It's not good. I asked ChatGPT, I said, how do you get the wires out? It said, if you look, and it said, if you send me a picture, I will make a diagram for you and show you exactly where to go. And I said, yes, please. So I had ChatGPT make a diagram. I showed it to the tech, and he finally figured it out. There's this little tiny tab, but it was behind, it was not visible. So it was like behind everything. So you couldn't see it. He had to like reach his hand back there and try to figure it out. So when he finally got it figured out, we were able to pull those wires out and then reseat them properly. Once the wires were seated properly, all was well in the world. Oh my gosh, my inverter works beautifully. This could be an entire house system for me. Another thing that I want to warn you about, though, is that the wires need to be upgraded. What I'm talking about is you use Romex wires for your AC. You need to have a big enough wire to handle your load. Now, fortunately, right now, I am only using outlets for my inverter. That's all it's connected to. It's not connected to my air conditioner. So even if I'm hooked to shore power and I use my air conditioner, it's not running through those Romex wires. It's on its own breaker. So I've got a thick enough wire to handle my air conditioner. But when I get back to Arizona, I'm gonna have Scott change out my wires for me because I still want my wires upgraded to a little bit of a bigger wire. And this is something as an inspector that I have now learned that is going to add to my tools of knowledge to look for when I see that people have possible homemade inverter setups. If you don't have big enough wires to handle the AC load, you could end up with a fire hazard. So this is something that is very, very important. That's why I wanted to bring it up. And I wish I could give you a little bit more visual pictures of what that looks like, but I will. When Scott upgrades my wires for me when I get back to Arizona, I'm going to film it and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean, because you want to always want to make sure that you have the proper gauge wires that can handle any load that you're bringing in the RV. So this is my Deb's Corner update. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I need to tell you about? Because there is another thing, but this is, you got to wait for next week's video. After I did an inspection, and you're not going to believe what happened to me on this inspection, and I'm taking you with me. It's a different type of inspection video where it's like real time. I wanted to make it different for you so that it could be like a real-time footage. So I'm taking you with me on this inspection that I'm doing, and I think it's going to be a really fun video. I can't wait to edit it. So anyway, this is it for this video. If you're interested in any of the products that I've mentioned or any of the businesses that I've talked about, I will have them all linked below. Any of the videos that I discuss will be linked below. But I would take advantage of that Waggle offer because 75% off is really good. if you're just getting the pet monitor, or 15% off the bundle is a really good deal too. So anyway, take care, and I will see you guys next week.